Hey everybody, Ethan here. Welcome to Hello Road. So this right here is my 1986 Nissan Stanza Wagon. So this strange and kind of awkward looking car is actually kind of special. This came out in 1981 as the Nissan Prairie in Japan and other markets, and came to the States in the mid-80s as the Nissan Stanza Wagon. It was also known in Canada as the Nissan Multi. Now what makes this car special, other than the very utilitarian nature of it, is the fact that it has sliding doors on both sides with no B-pillar. Now in terms of practicality and functionality, not having a B-pillar is great. It's easy to get in and out of the vehicle, it's easy to load stuff in, but in terms of safety, that's another story. The lack of a B-pillar probably makes this one of the least safe cars you could buy in the mid-80s, and I definitely wouldn't want to get in a side impact with this car. So yeah, when you're driving the Stanza Wagon, you must be very careful at all times. But safety aside, just look at this thing. It's so adorable and just weird, but weird in a good way in my opinion. So I bought this Stanza Wagon a couple years ago. I did a little traveling with it, I made a video with it, and then it just kind of sat. Unfortunately, other projects became more important and this thing just kind of sat off in the corner, and then all of a sudden it wouldn't start, and then the tires went flat, and then it just sat some more and it sat some more. And yeah, I really haven't given this car much love until recently. A couple months ago, I finally got the thing running again, got a couple new tires, and the thing does actually run and drive pretty well. But there's still a few issues with this vehicle. It's got a loud whining noise coming from the back that I'm not exactly sure what it is. The electrical seems to be quite messed up. There's a bunch of extra wires that I can't quite figure out, and none of the dashboard works. The headlights don't work, the taillights are always on, so there's quite a few issues with the electrical. I'm hoping it's just fuses and nothing crazy. But yeah, so this vehicle does need a few things to be more roadworthy. And today, I think we're gonna try to solve that. I'm gonna bring this car over to Sean's Auto Care and have Joe take a look at it. All right, we're back here at Sean's Auto Care, and Joe here is gonna tell us what's wrong with my Nissan Stanza. I mean, I already kind of know what's wrong with it. A lot is wrong with it. He's actually working on it right now. He just put in some new axles. He's gonna tell me all of the other things that I probably already know, but let's go through everything so you guys can see how much it costs to own an old car from the 80s. So everybody remembers Joe from the last video. How's it going?
What's going on?
So you've been working on my Stanza Wagon. When was the last time you worked on a Stanza Wagon?
Never. I think it's the first time that I've ever done. This was really cool because like I didn't realize it until I started working on it that like the doors slide open like a minivan, which is like super dope. Like,
yeah.
It's not the size of a minivan, but both the doors on both sides slide open like a minivan. Yeah. Well, I mean, I went over this car. Nothing too crazy stood out at first, I guess.
Yeah.
I know that the tires needed to be changed. What I didn't do was open up the drum brakes yet to make sure those were bad, but I knew that the front brake pads were trash, but we'll get to the front right now.
Sure.
Everything in the back is fine. This is a real interesting way to like hook up a spare tire as well.
Yeah.
It's definitely like, usually you'll have like a cap with a chain or a bolt or something, but this comes off with a nut at the top of here. This arm comes all the way down, and you'll be able to grab this, hold it up, spin this around, and then
it slides down.
Slide it out, yeah, from the back if you're on the side of the road.
Does that look like it's factory?
I think so, actually.
Huh.
That's what I was saying. I mean, it's
yeah, I wouldn't use that spare. That spare is.
It's definitely as old as the car. I was just showing my other tech how like I'm taking all the bolts out of this thing, and it looks like they've never been removed before. They look like I'm the first one to take them out.
Wow.
The tank's a stock tank. It does seem like you have a new fuel pump here. These are inline fuel pumps that go outside of the tank. It's a bit noisy inside of the car with these kind of fuel pumps and stuff. Usually people like to throw like rubber sleeves or socks or like other kinds of things just to like minimize the humming and stuff.
Sure.
But definitely.
Well, and that's probably what I keep hearing when I start the car, and I thought it was bad because it sounded so bad.
Yeah. No, it's the fuel pump outside. I mean, especially, they get mounted to these brackets and stuff with like little rubber bushings, just try to minimize it a little bit more, but It's just, they're just so loud. I mean, even like newer cars that have them in tank, if you really pay attention, you'll still hear them.
Okay.
So since this is outside, you'll definitely hear it inside of the car.
So that one, I wonder how long ago that was replaced.
I wonder, I mean, it looks fairly new.
Yeah.
Doesn't look dusty or anything like that.
Yeah.
And it still looks like it's doing its job. The car starts and revs and all that. It looks like it's in great shape.
And then I was looking here, I noticed there's some like stuff like that.
So this is like, yeah, the hose is coming apart. It's starting to flake, like the first layer of this is starting to flake. Sometimes what it is, it's just dirt and buildup that just gets cooked over time.
Okay.
It starts to flake at the bottom, but not the top so much.
Yeah.
So it leads me to believe that it's not the actual hose.
Okay.
So much as like it's just dirt that like has been sitting and built up for a while. And then after you start driving it and stuff and start flexing it, it starts to flake off.
Okay.
So it's not so much that the hose is coming off, because you'll see like the transition here is just dirt.
Yeah.
It's not like the hose.
Okay.
So as far as that goes, doesn't seem like that's a problem. If you move forward, the exhaust is still intact. It's not rusted out. The front of the car now, you start to see quite a bit more problems. Like for example, the axle seals were leaking. These are new axles. Ethan showed up as soon as I finished putting in new axles. So I was putting new axles in, so it's a little drippy. I mean, I have to wipe it down, but you can tell that all this was covered in oil. Yeah. As well, like it's fairly wet and new because I just pulled them out and stuff, but the rest of it, you can tell it's been seeping oil.
It's been seeping from the axle seals,
yeah,
you think?
From the axle seals for sure. But yeah, these are fresh axles in.
There's the brand new axles. That looks nice.
Axles, yeah. The old ones are in my metal bin there that I get picked up for recycle like every week or two. Yep. And this is one of them. If you see, like the boot's completely separated there. Yeah. So it's gonna lose all that grease inside of there. This is the passenger side one. Yep. That's the longer one. And then this is the driver's side one. And this one's losing. Somebody put like a zip tie on here at one point to get it to seal, but at this point there's not much grease anymore. It was coming out and it's all over like the bottom of the shock and all over the back of the caliper now. Yeah, somebody, you know, quick fix. You know what I mean? Just to get through the thing. Try to get it up. But yeah, that's basically junk now. All right. So yeah, fresh axles in there, which is great. The oil pan surprisingly doesn't seem too bad. There's a bunch of plastic covers in the way right now, but it's holding its oil fairly good. That's surprisingly, right? Yeah. That might change if you know, you drive it more and more and more. More you move the oil around in the engine, that might change a little bit. Other than that, it's okay. The next thing I noticed was that the front brakes were in really bad condition. Yeah. This one's still on here. I have the other side removed. If you come over here, the other side is removed. It's gone. The rotor's on the floor, and the caliper's here, but the pad looks like this. So you can see there that there's not much meat left on that. Yep, that's pretty low. Yeah, so new pads and rotors are we're trying to source at this point. Yeah, so before Ethan got here, I was trying to throw them in, but they're definitely not the right ones. The same goes for the brake pads here. The brake pads are wrong too? Yeah. Yeah, they're wrong. So that's the problem with buying parts online. These things were actually correctly listed as being for the Stanza Wagon, but they have the wrong parts in the store. So now I gotta figure out where to get the right brake pads, where to get the right rotors for this vehicle. There's a couple more things that it needs. I know like the sway bar link bushings are blown out. Yeah, those don't look very good. It looks like the radiator's leaking something from here. You can see like it's covered in green, moldy kind of stuff. That's like an original radiator. Those are like really expensive now to get. Yeah. But we have a radiator guy that will repair them. Oh, I see. Which is like super worth it. Yeah. Because if not, you end up putting something with like plastic end caps on it. Oh, that's stuff. And like those blow up. I mean, I like that way better. Sure. Personally, but the process is pretty cool. I mean, the guy has a big tub of water. He'll put 2 hoses on the ends, cap everything, and dump it in, and then inspect wherever it's coming from. And then he'll braze the hole shut. It's a process where you use a torch and it's like an older version of like soldering. Sure. It's not welding. It's like more soldering. Sure. They call it like brazing. Yep. Yeah, everything else that I was able to see was okay. Again, I feel like there's a bunch of stuff that like will be more noticeable if if like this car was to be on the road for more and more time, maybe bushing starts to like flex a little more than I would like, or ball joints would be a little more loose than I would like.
Sorry, man, taking these apart and putting them back together more than once.
It's fine.
All right.
It is what it is. I mean, it's not that big a deal, only because
at least it's just brakes.
4 bolts.
Yeah.
I've had customers bring me wrong engines.
Oh.
And like that's when I have a bad time.
Yes.
You know.
2 days later.
All right, so the car is back and a lot of stuff is fixed, which I'm super excited about. We got new axles in the front, so now the car is not leaking grease everywhere out of those CV joints. It's got new front brakes. The wheels still look terrible, but maybe we can talk about that in a bit. The car stops great. The whining in the back was just that aftermarket fuel pump, so yes, it still makes a pretty horrendous whining sound, but at least I know there's no problem with the fuel pump. Now let's take a look under the hood. Okay, so some pretty simple stuff was done up here in the front. Got a new battery. Joe put on some new belts, and he sorted out the electrical issues. Turns out it was not a big deal. There was a lot of extra wires that we couldn't quite figure out, but it turns out that there may have been dealer installed air conditioning or something. I'm not sure, or maybe it was aftermarket, but there's actually a couple inline fuses and some wires that runs to the dashboard that is just for the air conditioning. So basically, I was concerned that there were all sorts of issues with the wiring harness, but it turned out to just be something really simple. There were a lot of blown fuses, and I don't know how I missed that, but I did. That's why I have a professional working on my car and not me trying to do everything, because I'm not really very smart when it comes to this stuff. So thank you, Joe, for figuring that out. But speaking of me working on vehicles, I did leave some stuff for myself to do because I need to get my hands dirty and prove to myself that I am not completely worthless when it comes to fixing vehicles. So I'm going to do an oil change. I know, really exciting. Very difficult stuff, but I'm going to do that. New spark plugs. This vehicle actually has 8 spark plugs. It's got some weird 80s emissions control system that requires 2 spark plugs per cylinder, so I'll need 8 spark plugs for this thing. What else am I going to do? That might be it for up front here. The other thing I really need to do, if you remember from my previous videos with this car, is that the interior of this vehicle kind of smells. So I'm going to try to figure out a couple different solutions to help this car not stink so bad. I think there may have been a leak at some point, so I might pull up the carpet to see if there's any mold or anything under there. But yes, it doesn't smell very good in here, and I really need to solve that. If you have any suggestions, let me know, but I think we can fix it. And then finally, I think I need to give this car a little bit of love by doing a small customization. This car just has the standard stock wheels, nothing special. They're really they just look terrible right now. But I think I'm gonna see if I can find some period correct wheels to go on this vehicle. I had been looking at maybe 1980s 300Z wheels. That might be kind of a cool thing on this vehicle. Also, there were a couple wheels that were never sold here that were JDM only, like I think they're called the Impul, which look amazing. I haven't been able to find them, but I think that would look really sweet on this car. Again, let me know what you think. I think this car deserves a little bit of customization, nothing crazy, just a little bit to show that I care for it. Also, check out my shirt. Would you like a Nissan Stanza Wagon B-Pillars Are for Suckers shirt? Just go to helloroad.tv/shop. If you purchase one of these shirts, it helps me continue to make videos with my fleet of terrible cars. It helps me hopefully be able to make more videos because each video that I make takes time, takes energy, takes effort, takes money. I would really appreciate your support. Thank you so much for everybody who has joined me on Patreon. If you'd like to become a patron, just go to patreon.com/helloroad and you can get early access to my videos among other perks. So thanks so much. I really appreciate it for all the people that are following along with my fleet of crappy automobiles. Well, they're not all crappy, but trying to make them better slowly and surely. But yeah, t-shirt, want one? Let me know. All right, I think that's gonna be it for today. Thank you so much for watching. I'll have more videos with my fleet coming soon. I'll have a couple videos with vehicles that are not mine that people just strangely and kind of crazily let me borrow. And maybe a couple reviews of some new cars here and there. I'm not really sure what I'm gonna do with the new car stuff. I have done new car reviews in the past. They don't really seem to be that popular. I'm not sure if you like them. Let me know in the comments below. I think they're fun to do, but I don't really know if it fits the theme of the channel. I actually have 2 videos that are sort of halfway done. I did a video with the Toyota RAV4 RAV4 Hybrid and the new Hyundai Venue. And I've just kind of put off putting them out because it hasn't really seemed to kind of gel with all of my old car content. But let me know what you think. I was thinking about maybe buying an old Toyota RAV4 and doing sort of like a comparison from the old one to a new one. I don't know, that could be kind of cool, I guess. Anyway, just sort of thinking out loud, trying to come up with ideas of how to make content that everybody will like, how to make content that will help pay my bills. So yeah, thanks so much for joining me on this journey, and I'll talk to you soon. Also, sneak preview of my most recent acquisition right here. See ya, bye.